Hi, I'm Cameron Sheets with Queerty. Hi, Ariana. How are you?
I am so well. It's nice to see you. Thanks for being
You
here.
too. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about your, we'll say it, delicious new movie, House of Spoils. Feels
Thank you.
appropriate.
Thank you.
I think, first of all, I love that your character very much feels like someone real, someone we could know. But I love that this film is so deliberate in what it does and doesn't tell us about who she is. I mean, she's just referred to as chef to kind of put that out there, which I thought was so fascinating. And I mean, I'm curious from your perspective, what does that choice, filmmaking choice, mean to you? And how might that impact your approach to this character?
Oh, I loved it. In fact, that was one of the first things that jumped out at me when I read the script because immediately was like, "Oh, she's referred to by no other name but chef." Like that says a lot. How many times or how many women, how many people in general have felt literally defined by their work only? There's no work-life balance because there's just work. So knowing that sort of was an all-encompassing identity was a really great jumping off point, especially as you watch this woman go on the very ambitious journey of trying to open her own restaurant and be the top dog and discover her own leadership style.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, she's got her own methods that she's trying out,
Well, I
which
think
we'll
she
say.
thinks she does, and then
Yeah, yeah.
you're like, "Oh, oh," and, again, like, that I thought that journey was fascinating, like, subtly, at times, like, digging into, "Oh, maybe that's a toxic trait I picked up along the way, and maybe
Hmm.
that's actually not helpful, might be
Mm,
hurtful." So
hmm.
what's the solution? And this is a genre bending thriller horror film that is has some beautiful art within it, but also asks you to like consider some things about yourself, which is cool.
Totally. Well, I think that's such an interesting point in terms of like considering things about yourself. I mean, we all bring our own baggage to films and our own personhood to films when we're watching them. And, I think there's enough ambiguity around who Chef is that, like, I'm like, maybe it's just me, but I'm reading queerness and queer metaphor into the story too, because that's
Mm.
kind of how I view things a lot of the time. And I'm wondering what you think of that. I mean, do you see this as a movie that could have a special resonance to the queer community?
I definitely think it can. I think each audience member will see,
Hmm.
something different in it from their perspective. But being who I am, my humanity, I am a very proud, out Afro Latin woman, right? I've never hid that, and I thought, what an interesting journey to go on the ride with someone who doesn't necessarily lead with their sexuality. It may
Hmm.
be
Hmm.
implied, right? It may be an energy that she's bringing to it, um, but it's not the first thing that walks in with her necessarily. Her humanity does, her love for her work. And I do think as we move forward as a community, I hope that we're working towards a day where we don't necessarily have to come out about this part of our humanity.
Hmm.
It's a part that we should be proud of, but we are whole humans. So I took that tactic with her and I never felt the need to push it in one direction or another. I think her energy says enough, and I liked that I was able to explore her masculinity, both the positive and the toxic traits of her masculinity, and then hopefully I will have done my job well, and you can feel how those sharper edges start to round, and she does lean into her wild feminine, but she's doing it her way, if that makes
Hmm.
sense, because there's no one way to be human,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, that's what I was attempting to explore with the character.
Oh, I love that. And you put words to so many thoughts I've had just about like identity and it's something I come up in all the time when I'm covering, queer media. I'm like, did these labels matter? And in some ways, yes, absolutely. And in other ways, it's like not at all. Like this is a human story and we're trying to tell something that anybody can relate to. And I always think that's so
Yeah.
fascinating.
But I do think you have a point though, and I do think that our queer siblings can probably relate and see themselves in this character and her journey. But I will be very transparent in saying I don't believe it was the whole in purpose of this
Yes.
person's story. Does that makes sense.
Yeah. I wanted to shift gears a little bit too, because
Sure.
I just think you're someone who is so like we've seen you do every genre. Like you have done it all at this point, and it's amazing. It's so cool to see you in the horror space now. What's your own history with horror? Are you a fan of the genre as a whole? Like, did you grow up loving certain horror films?
I mean, I respect the genre, but I am a historical fraidy cat.
Okay.
I like spooky vibes. I am not
Hmm.
afraid of the dark or the occult. As a viewer, I love movies like The Pelican Brief
Hmm.
or Constantine or like Skeleton Key. That might be the darkest that I get. Um, like I'll go for like American Horror Story Coven,
Sure, sure.
you know? But I get nervous when you're like, yo, Freddy Krueger. Like that's probably not gonna be my jam. But
Hmm.
I respect it, horror as a genre. I do think that it allows you to process things, and your entrance point might be fear. And that's okay. And that's kind of interesting and cool. Like some people do like to feel that sensation of being scared. I have a theory that it might be something, a sensation that allows them to start to process some bigger ideas. Um, but again, that's just a theory. I could be wrong.
No, absolutely. I agree with you there. I'm curious, slight tangent, but is there like a specific film you can remember from maybe, childhood or growing up that felt, whether it was a horror or not, felt traumatizing to you that you were like really freaked out by?
um, yes, I did not do well with The Bone Collector.
Sure. Yeah.
Did not do well with that. Oh, I was not okay. I mean, Miss Jolie was wonderful in the film, but I was not good with Senor Denzel in that bed like that. And then all the stuff that happens at the end, and then the like the heater thing, the boiler thing that happened. Oh
Yes.
no, I had nightmares. I was not okay. I was
You know
like,
what?
Mom,
What?
this
Yeah.
is not appropriate viewing. This has got to stop. Jesus.
And honestly, like cruel of me to ask because now I'm making you revisit the memories of
How
that
dare
movie.
you?
Like,
I'm
why would I
sweating.
do that to you? Yeah. Okay, different memory that maybe is more fun, especially because we're getting into Halloween season, October. I feel like everybody has that like childhood Halloween costume that they were like, they're still super proud of to this day. Is there one that
Oh.
stands out for you?
Mm. Um,
Or maybe you're not proud of it, but it stands out.
I mean, I don't know what this says about me, but I went through the Disney princesses
Okay, yeah.
or as a kid. It was an easy access point. I think I was a scarecrow at one point.
Cute.
Like I had really good overalls. Like that was good.
Yes.
Um, benign, but good.
I was gonna say that tracks for you because it's not necessarily scary, but classic Halloween
Classic.
costume. It's
I believe
great.
in the classics. Like it's great.
Yes.
I did oh god, this is so bad. And I prefaced this with like I was not in a good headspace at the time. This was probably about 7 years ago. I did show up to a party in like rehearsal clothes, a Halloween party, and I was like, they were like, "Who are you?" And I was like, "I'm a dancer. I'm myself." I would never show up to a party as like myself today because that's just like weird and kind of
Sure.
rude and like egotistical AF. Like not great. Don't do that. Um, I would actually try to make a costume. Why am I talking about this? Next
No,
question, please.
no, I know I walked you into this and I'm like, no, but I agree. We've all been there. It's okay. Dark phases in our lives, right? I'm
Oh
me.
yeah.
Yeah. I have to wrap there, but it's so much
Oh
fun.
no!
And
Don't you have one more
no,
question?
well, they're making me rap. I want to talk food. We want to talk, no, 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 no. I'm so grateful for the time. Truly, thank you for your openness. And I'm so glad we got to go down memory lane a little bit too.
Oh, it was really fun. Thank you for chatting with
Thank
me.
you.
I hope you all watch House of Spoils.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Thank you, Ariana.
You too.
Bye bye.